slouching. No, you're fine. Hi, friends. It's Christy. Thanks for tuning in to Tales from the Stacks. Oh my gosh, we are so close to being done reading Two Dogs in a Trench Coat Go to School. Um, and thanks to Scholastic Press for allowing us to read this book virtually to everybody. So, I want to let you guys know about a drawing or raffle that we're having at the library. So, this is a pet bed. Now, it hasn't been fully stuffed yet, so just imagine it with all of the stuffing. So, it's a cute little fleece pet bed. So, if you come to the Lucero branch, fill out a little piece of paper, put it in the bowl. I'm going to do a drawing at the end of the month, and some lucky person will win a nice new fleece pet bed. Okay, so with that said, let's check in on our two dogs in a trench coat and see what's going on. So, chapter 18. We've saved the day, said Waldo as he and Sassy burst into Stuart's room. We're the winners. We're all good dogs. Waldo handed Stuart the information sheets. Sassy flopped on the rug and fell asleep immediately. Wait, where did you find these? Said Stuart. Miss Toohey gave them to us. She's the nicest. Stuart sharpened his pencil. After all this fuss, I'm going to use my neatest handwriting to fill this thing out. He took his time, writing carefully. After a while, he stopped writing and frowned. What is the matter? Said Waldo. It's filling out the information sheet. Not as fun as we thought it would be. It's just a little more involved than I expected. What are the educational benchmarks addressed by your project? How will your presentation help your classmates become functional adults? On a scale of 1 to 10, how amazing a teacher is Miss Toohey? 12, said Waldo. She's 12 amazing. Oh, squirrels are so educational, said Sassy, yawning, and they will help your classmates become functional adults. But how? Said Stuart. After seeing everyone's project today, it feels like my project might need a little bit more. Like maybe you should talk about how squirrels build a cocoon, and after 3 years they crack it open and it's all acorns inside, said Waldo. That's not true at all, said Stuart. It sounds true to me, said Waldo. The point is, squirrels can't be trusted, said Sassy. You know what we're all experts in now? Velocity. You should do something about the velocity of squirrels, said Waldo. What? Like throw a squirrel to see how far it goes, said Stuart. Yes, said both dogs at once. You should definitely throw a squirrel, said Sassy. This is going to be the greatest day of my life, said Waldo. Stuart, throwing a squirrel is something I never realized I needed until right this moment. I guess I could throw the squirrel-shaped dog toy, said Stuart, though I'm not sure how throwing a squirrel will be so educational. It will be so educational, said Sassy. It will teach everyone how unpredictable squirrels are, said Waldo. You never know what's next with squirrels. Squirrels are chaos, said Sassy. Also, I think it will work best if you throw a real live squirrel. First of all, no, said Stuart. Second of all, even if I was going to do that, how would I get a squirrel? You two have tried to catch a squirrel as long as I've known you, and you've never gotten close. Now, hold on a minute, said Waldo. We are not trying to catch one. Oh, really, said Stuart. We're trying to clear the area, said Waldo, and we're doing such a good job. There are no squirrels in your room at all, said Sassy. That proves what a good job we're doing. If we wanted to catch a squirrel, we could do it. She stood up suddenly excited. Do you want us to catch one? We'll get one right now. Then you just have to hold on to it until tomorrow. No, it's fine, said Stuart. I don't need a squirrel. Let me finish filling out the information sheet. The dog stared at Stuart while he did his best to answer the questions about the educational quality of a project he'd just come up with the day before. They knew they were helping. It was always helpful to stare at humans doing a difficult task. Stuart wrote. Then he sighed and he stared at the ceiling and he wrote some more. He looked at the dogs, then wrote some more. There's something bugging me, said Stuart. Squirrels, said Waldo. Squirrels are bugging you. They do that. No, it's not that. It's that I'm filling this out after everyone else already did their project. That's not your fault, said Sassy. You didn't have the information sheet until today. Well, that actually is my fault. I lost it. And now I'm filling this out because you got me a new one. That's because we're the most helpful dogs ever, said Waldo, and total professionals. Right, but I think you've given me what is known as an unfair advantage. And if I add more to my project, if I make it about a squirrel's velocity, or purposely change everything to make it more like all the best presentations today, then that's cheating. I have to stick with what I would have presented today. We were lucky that I was last and that Bax had so much to say. Bax really did have a lot to say, said Waldo. He did, Sassy agreed. He talked for 3 times as long as anyone else, and plus his presentation involved a lot of balls. So many balls, said Waldo. There were balls in that science project about colors, too, said Sassy. Why didn't you tell us that there were so many balls in school, said Waldo. I didn't want to make you feel bad about having to stay home, I guess, said Stuart. If you cannot add more to your project, does that mean that you will not fill out the information sheet either, said Sassy. You didn't have that this morning. Oh, I'm totally filling this out. Filling this out isn't cheating since I had an information sheet once, but I'm going to stick with my presentation about squirrel facts. It will still be educational. So educational, agreed Sassy. It's important everyone knows the truth about squirrels. Make sure you talk about Squirrel Town, said Waldo, and tell them how the squirrels are plotting an overthrow of the humans. Tell them not to leave acorns or walnuts outside, or tiny peanut butter sandwiches. I don't know if anybody leaves trays of tiny sandwiches outside, but if they did, it would definitely help the squirrels. Do humans do that? Said Sassy. Humans should not do that. They should also not build tiny cozy squirrel huts high in the trees with tiny blankets and hand knit squirrel hats, she yawned. I don't know where you two are getting your information, said Stuart, but all of that is wrong, I think. I'm pretty sure. You can never be completely sure, said Waldo. The squirrels control everything. Before you know it, you'll be making them sandwiches and sewing them mittens. Remember this, said Sassy. Squirrels mean chaos. They're watching our every move, said Waldo. I'll be right back, said Stuart. He left the room and came back a few minutes later with new rawhide bones. Why don't you chew on these for a while and forget about squirrels? You're thinking way too much about squirrels. Who said anything about squirrels, said Waldo. Hand over the bones now, said Sassy, please. Chapter 19. Look, there's Waldo and Sassy peeking out the window. Probably looking at squirrels, huh? Okay, the dogs managed not to worry much about squirrels the next morning either. There weren't any squirrels in the backyard. No stealthy, crafty humans had left out tiny seed cakes or squirrel scarves. And Stuart was so happy and relaxed, he hummed a tune on the way to school. It's a good thing we came to school and enrolled as a human, said Waldo. I like the part about how we get a pile of meat for lunch every day, said Sassy. We never used to get lunch before. Why didn't we get lunch? The humans eat every 9 minutes, and we only get breakfast and dinner. Sometimes you get cookies, said Stuart, for snacks. Snack cookies are good, said Waldo. Meat cookies are even better, said Sassy. Well, let's not complain right now, said Waldo. Everything's going pretty well. We saved Stuart from the evil overlord. What evil overlord exactly, said Stuart. The information sheet, said Waldo. Oh, yeah, said Stuart, that evil overlord. And now our boy is humming and will do a very important and educational lecture about squirrels today to his classmates. And I bet he's going to impress Ms. Toohey. Do you think if he impresses her, she'll give us a cookie, said Sassy. I sure hope so, said Waldo. Salty sat at their desk while Stuart made sure he had everything ready for his presentation. Did you bring fireworks? Waldo whispered to Sassy. I don't think so, but this trench coat has a lot of pockets. Why? I just want Stuart's presentation to be spectacular, said Waldo. So many of the presentations were spectacular. Oh, well, some of them were ludicrous, said Sassy. Two were boring, some were entertaining, and one had an eruption. The volcano didn't erupt like it was supposed to. I was talking about the baby. Oh, right. Anyway, I think fireworks would be spectacular. We'll have to rely on Stuart to make the presentation spectacular all on his own. I guess. But the dogs had to wait. Miss Toohey made everyone do math work, reading work, and spelling work before it was time for Stuart to give his presentation. Stuart is smelling more nervous with every passing minute, said Waldo. I know, said Sassy. This is like sitting next to a chihuahua. Not all chihuahuas are nervous, said Waldo. Remember Buster? Was that the tiny dog who used to punch me in the face? Yes, that dog was feisty. Yes. Do you think Stuart is feisty? Maybe. Now you smell nervous. I want Stuart to win. Is it a competition? Will there be a winner? Isn't there always? Miss Toohey clapped her hands. Finish up your spelling dioramas and let's get ready to hear our last presentation. Boy, all those hot glue guns you're using sure made it warm in here today. I'm going to open a window. She slid 3 of the classroom windows open and then nodded at Stuart. Whenever you're ready, go ahead. Stuart brought the information sheet to Miss Toohey and handed it to her. He carried his log to the front of the room, and he kept the squirrel dog toy in his tote bag. He was going to bring it out at just the right moment. He wanted to create some suspense. Meanwhile, Waldo sensed a movement out the window and smelled a telltale scent wafting through the screen. Sassy sensed it too, her body tense, a low growl starting in her throat. Waldo stomped on her head to get her to shut up. Hey, she said. Ow. Everything okay, Salty? Asked Miss Toohey. My stomach is grumbling. I think I need my daily midday meat pile. Or, yes, I need to go out the doggy door. Pardon, said Miss Toohey. The bath place, I mean, said Waldo. I need to go to the room of bathing, but where you can't actually take a bath. The bathroom? I just said that. Are you sure? I'm very sure. Miss Toohey gave Salty the hall pass, and the dogs ran out of the room, past the bathroom, and out of the door. They instinctively broke apart out of the trench coat. They ran fast and low, knowing they'd cover more ground as 2 dogs, until they made it to the base of a big oak tree, circling. There he is, said Waldo. I see him, said Sassy. This squirrel was so totally getting sent to Squirrel Town. Are you ready? Said Waldo. I've never been more ready, said Sassy. Let's do this. This squirrel is going down. The squirrel was, in fact, going up. Farther up the tree, the dogs circled at the base of the trunk, growling, until Waldo said, now! And then they began to bark. The squirrel fluffed his tail at them. I'm going to jump on your shoulders. Then we'll be taller and we can reach him. Waldo climbed onto Sassy, which did make him taller, but he was still about 15 feet shorter than the squirrel. Waldo stretched as high as he could. Almost, he said, gritting his teeth. I've almost got him. Sassy looked up. I don't think you're using the word almost correctly. Waldo shifted. Hey, Stuart is giving his presentation. We're missing it. But this squirrel. I know. I don't know what to do. What's Stuart saying? Shh. Something about squirrels being able to climb up and down trees because of their toes. What else? I think he's showing them how the bark on a tree is easy for a squirrel toes to grip. Should we go back in? Let's bark some more and then go back in. So they went back to barking, and the squirrel continued his nonchalant and sinister tail fluffing. The squirrel tauntingly climbed a few feet back down the tree, getting closer, which made the dogs bark even more. Just a minute, they heard Miss Toohey say. I'm going to close these windows so those darn dogs aren't so disruptive. The squirrel said, Ms. Tui closed one window. The squirrel fluffed his tail and ran up the tree and out on a branch. Miss Tui closed another window. The dogs started jumping as far as they could up the tree. The squirrel gave one last flourishing fluff, ran down the branch, and leapt flying through the air, landing on the ledge of the last open window. The squirrel used his amazing grippy toes and claws to dislodge the screen and jump into the classroom. Holy cats, said Waldo. Did that just happen? We've got to get back in there. Come on. They quickly reassembled themselves in the trench coat and then realized they were locked out of school and had to go around to the front door to get buzzed in. Hello, said Dottie. Dottie, hello, it's Salty from Liver, Ohio. We're locked out of this fine school. The door opened. What are you doing out here, said Dottie. You shouldn't be outside by yourself. Were you running away? I was not running away. I was running toward. Thank you for letting me inside. I have to go. I have learning to do. You need to fill out this unauthorized outside access form, said Dottie. You sure do love your forms here. What? There were not as many forms to fill out in Liver, Ohio. I'll get you a clipboard. But it's not my birthday. What? And if it was, I would want a meatball, not a clipboard. But goodbye, I have learning to do. Sassy ran down the hall before Dottie could do anything. All right, we're going to end there next week. Gosh, we've got the last 2 chapters in the book, so we're going to see how Stuart makes out with his presentation and if Waldo and Sassy get caught being 2 dogs in a trench coat. So anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying this book and have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.